Hey neighbor, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. My name is John, and a few years ago I made an installment of my series Problems I Have With about Alternative Press magazine. If you're not familiar with them beyond name recognition in the quote-unquote scene, they're a magazine that dates back to the 1980s. They focus on obviously alternative and rock music primarily. It's changed a lot over the years as their focus has shifted gears into something a little bit more modern, but I talked about in my initial video the problems with that and all the complicated twistings that kind of undo the magazine's legacy, if you will. So briefly, I'm going to recap some of my points from that before we dive back into a new set of problems because somehow it's gotten even worse. Originally, I took notice of how the same articles were posted over and over again. I felt that they didn't represent their brand well at all, and it just kind of made this convoluted mess as they posted quizzes and became a BuzzFeed for the emos, if you will, for emos that aren't actually emo at all. They just think that listening to My Chemical Romance and 21 Pilots makes them an emo fan. I also noted how they pandered to the fandoms with the cover shoots, how they just kind of cycled the same bands in and out over and over again, clickbaiting for exposure so that people would buy their now empty, hollow magazines for maybe a poster or maybe just the cover in general, because it's like they're using the bands for their own personal clout. The final thing I wanted to bring back up is how I originally noted that their awards show, the APMAs, had become a complete mess and a joke, and they were just kind of doing the same things over and over again. They clearly didn't have their shit together behind the scenes. And then the APMAs just completely disappeared. They were set to air in 2018 and they moved it back a little bit because that was the final cross-country run of the Vans Warped Tour, but it never happened. They never said another damn word about it. What the hell happened there? Not only have they doubled down on their pandering to fandoms as they cycle out the likes of Water Park, Sleeping with Sirens, Green Day, Panic at the Disco, 21 Pilots, Pierce the Veil, whoever they can get on the cover to hopefully desperately bring people in to get the clicks or to get people reading or buying the magazine. As they cycle through those clickbait people and just use them for their own exposure over and over again, you can see that not even that is working. I'm wondering, how do they have people on the staff? How are they affording to run the site and the magazine at large? Well, that's an even bigger issue that we're going to get into, but if you take a look at their site, it's always saying new, sale, hot. Every single item is discounted. There's not a full-priced item in sight. Why is that? Because they probably got warehouses full of shit just sitting around with magazines they can't sell, with bundles that no one really wants, not from alternative press, because why not just buy it from the band themselves? Why are we going to give you a cut? Alt Press's behavior online as they've shifted away from doing things like reviews or even being remotely critical of anything. Yeah, that's right. They discontinued reviews on the website. They will not say a word about anything. Even when they covered the whole Puddle of Mudd, Wes Scantlin, horrible Nirvana cover thing, they were still kind of nice in that. And it's unbelievable that they won't say a scathing piece about anything because they're like, well, you never know. What if Puddle of Mudd had a resurgence someday and we wanted them to be on the cover or do an interview with us? We can't burn that bridge. They're so desperately reliant on the stars that they know they can't say a damn critical word, because if they were to say like, oh, you know, that new Water Parks album, we're only feeling like a 3 out of 5. What if Austin Knight and the gang didn't want to come back for another photo shoot? So they discontinued reviews. They completely just cut that part of the site out. But beyond that, and kind of what I was hinting at, is how are they paying for these things? No one's really buying their magazines. Obviously, if people are on the website, they might be using an ad blocker or something. I know I do, especially for them. I just don't feel that anybody is getting the proper credit for things. And that was further confirmed earlier this year when several of their former writers kind of lashed out online, including someone that now runs something called Note to Scene. It's something that I will leave a link for if you're looking for an alternative to alternative press. I think that they kind of started talking about the whole idea of articles being posted without any credit being given. Well, it goes beyond that because it wasn't just them. Alternative press has been reposting articles from years ago and then putting them out modern day verbatim, basically word for word regurgitations of these articles without crediting the original author that did all of the research. This is shady, shady behavior, and I did reach out to several people for comment. Only one replied, and they kind of wanted to distance themselves from alternative press as they've moved on with a new career. I don't blame anyone for not wanting anything to do with alt press. You don't want the memory lingering in your mind, but I do feel that it's important to call them out on their bullshit. Not just bullshit, this is illegal, this is theft, this is stealing, straight up. If you're taking somebody's article that they wrote for you under the guise of, okay, this is it, it's being posted now, my name is attached to this, you're taking it, repurposing it, and then putting it out now in 2020 without even mentioning their name or that they actually did the research for that, then go fuck yourself. Half of the posts on their site now are not even music related or else not in the alternative world. Why are you telling me about a posthumous Juice WRLD collab? Why are you telling me about what Riverdale is up to? What does this have to do with alt press? Well, in recent years, they've kind of segued into something new where they feel that they can reach youth culture by talking about things that are trending on Twitter. Buzzwords, whatever it might be, whatever they're into, we're also here for, as they love to say. I talked about years ago how all of these online publications are talking like they're a teenage fandom personality. Well, that is ramped up even further, and at this point, their online presence, it's nowhere near as big as what it used to be. They might have the follower count of over 600,000 on the likes of Twitter or Instagram, but look at that engagement. Only like 100 people liking these posts? I do even better than that. What's going on here? Well, over the years, their reputation has gotten even worse as people pretty much just take them as a joke, and it's hard to blame anyone, I mean, myself included, when you go on their website and it literally looks like MySpace did in '07. There's clickable things everywhere. Oh, click here, click there, look at these big buzzy words. Oh, click on this one, buy a little pretty magazine right here, and you get a little poster of Gerard Way. They're so desperate for cash flow at this point that they've put together things like this holy book of My Chemical Romance. It's just another issue of their magazine. You can go get it right now for $5 because, as with everything else, the original price that they were definitely selling it for at some point totally has actually been slashed like in half or else even beyond that in some cases. I think that what got me even more than these magazines and everything what they're doing right now is the fact that they're now trying to put together these little books like the essential emo albums. Let's get emo album covers together and just publish them in a book. And what's the context? Oh, we'll write a little teeny little blurb under each one. What is the point here? Do you even have the proper credits for actually publishing this and profiting off of it? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Why would anyone buy a book of the most essential emo album covers from you when any of this information, it's just right there in front of your eyes online? Go look it up if you're genuinely that curious. The story for any of these covers or actually crediting the authors of these photographs or the artwork or anything like that, it really pisses me off to see them trying to profit off of stupid things like this that clearly do not matter and are not theirs. Alternative press are irrelevant at this point in time in 2020. They're a far cry from what they used to be, and even publications that I'm not super fond of, at least with like the likes of Rock Sound, they still do genuine interviews. They actually will post out reviews and they will give more exposure to smaller bands. At this point, alternative press is just trying to keep the lights on by cycling through the same bands that actually attract some sort of fandom status like My Chem, Water Park, Sleeping with Sirens, whoever else it could be, Panic at the Disco, Green Day. They thrive off of those clicks, and they're not getting as many as they used to. Why else would they resort to stealing articles? Why else would they resort to just putting out quizzes and things that they hope will get you to stay on their site longer? But it's failing. It's not working. It doesn't matter if you're now covering the likes of Movie News and Riverdale and Frozen 2, whatever the fuck it might be. Alternative press doesn't have a purpose. They have been dragged in so many different directions, and it's all their own fault. I genuinely don't think they'll be around in 5 years. Who knows, it could implode even sooner than that, and honestly at this point, it would be satisfying for all they've done. Any and all thoughts are welcomed in the comments section down below. And again, I say these things genuinely because I would love for them to get better, but at this point, it's clear that they're on a course that could never be corrected. At least, I don't think so. Prove me wrong if you're even going to try to, but until you start getting back to things that people might actually care about and get behind, here's the thing. Fandoms might provide the quick clicks, but what you want to attract is people who will stick around for the long run. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Problems I Have With. I want to do more of these in the future, and hopefully this will get me back on track. I really feel like I got some stuff off my chest that I've been sitting with for a while now. If you enjoyed the video, then please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe for the love of music. Check out another episode right here, or the original episode of Problems I Have With All Press by tapping here. Socials in the description, and I'll see you soon for more on Beyond ARTV.